right. So now that we've talked about brand manifesto, there's also the voice, and people think, oh, the voice, like, what do you mean by that? So Anna, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so kind of going back to this idea of your brand as a person, the voice is how they will talk to the voice is how you'll talk to customers. It can be in the way you describe your products. Maybe you're very like luxury, maybe you're very casual. But the important thing is that it should be consistent. And once you've kind of defined your manifesto in your heart, it should be easy to kind of stick to that consistency. An example I like to say is like, think about something like Nike. Their tagline is like, just do it. So everything that they do is very like inspiring. It's very empowering. Imagine if one day you're looking at a Nike ad and it says, yeah, I guess you could try it. You're going to be like, what? That's not Nike. That's why it's jarring. And that's why it's very important to always have the same consistent voice.
What's another example? There's another example I like that she uses.
Oh, it's like, if you're, imagine your partner always says like, hey, baby, hey, this, always says baby. And then one day they're like, hey, you, or hey, dude, it's jarring. It's just like, wait, are you the same person? Is this the same brand? Is this the same, person that I've come to trust? So it's very important. Brand voice is very important. And it could just be the way you use words, the way you describe your product, but as long as it's consistent, that's really what's important.
Because you're building, again, it is building. You're building people getting to know you and how you are and how you talk, so that people start to, trust you and all of that. So that consistency is very, very important. Okay. Brand personality. What do you mean by this, Anna?
Again, this is just another layer of this idea that your brand is a person. So now these are characteristics. So let's say your brand manifesto is about having fun and your voice is casual. So then your personality would be outgoing. It would be fun. And this is how you kind of inform what kind of posts you'll post. Are you a serious business that deals with financial things? So your personality is going to be a little more button up. You're going to post things that are serious, very factual. Is your business some sort of service that is an experience or depends heavily on fun? So then your brand personality is going to be a little casual, a little more colorful. So then when you post things on social media or send out emails, you can say, hey, you, or like, hey, so-and-so, instead of saying like, dear Jackie. Just it's these little things that kind of help you decide how your brand should proceed when you kind of hit like a path, like, should my email be more serious? Should my email be more casual? Think about what your brand personality is. Think about the voice that you've established for your personality. And then think about, does it all go back to the heart of your brand manifesto?
Yeah, one thing that we always do with our clients too is when we talk about brand personality, like, is there a person, a celebrity, or, it doesn't even have to be a celebrity, but someone that reminds you of the kind of brand you want to be. So that's a fun way to brainstorm, is like, when we think about that, like, think about your brand and be like, who would like be the best endorser of this brand, and see how they approach content. I think we can learn from what's already out there, right? And that's a tangible way to kind of understand what your brand personality is. Okay. So we are going to give you a couple examples of brands we both like. And you'll notice from these examples, our own personalities are very different in what we're interested in. But so I'll go first. I am a big fan of anything, with culture, Latino culture, Latinx culture. I love like little, tutorias, like I love little things like art and all this stuff. And so I've been following Alexia, which I do recommend everyone because I love her. She's a shop that's in San Diego, but she's so much more than that. I love her brand positioning. She could have been just like another shop, right? Just another shop that sells you the Mexican culture and art and that and whatnot. But what she does is she really makes you realize what exactly you're getting from her. So for her branding, she literally says she's the best Mexican gift shop. So you already know that this is specifically a Mexican gift shop. It's not an art place. It's a place to get gifts, to be inspired with culture. She even says hashtag bringing Mexico to you. Okay, so she's already, you could tell with this messaging, she's getting people like me, people who want to be in touch with their culture, want to look at different gifts, different things like that. So she's really on point from a messaging standpoint, right? From a visual standpoint, obviously the culture, the art, it's all very visible on her digital media. But also, and I know you probably can't read that, but I'll talk a little bit about her own messaging here when she talks about it. So on the right here, you'll see this really long caption, right? And a lot of people are like, there's a lot of debate of like, your captions should be really short. And that's true, right? If you just want to get your point across, that's fine. But the beauty of Artlexia is that she's really building a source of authority of how she doesn't just get gifts from anywhere. She's very, very particular about where she goes in Mexico, who's crafting these gifts. So it's really building that authenticity, the credibility that she really knows what she's talking about when she's doing gifts. So there's going to be moments where, yes, you can write more than a couple sentences for a caption if it's going to support, right, the authority that you're trying to place, right? There's also this idea of, we love making your experience with Artlexia special. Like, they understand that the experiences that you have there are part of it. Like, I can't tell you how happy I was to finally go into the shop. Like, everyone gets excited about it because you're building this sort of vibe online, and then they finally meet you or they finally see your product, and it comes through, right? Whatever, it's consistent. And so you want to really know that the experience they're having online is very similar to the experience they're going to have with you in person. That's very, very important. She obviously throws in some Spanglish in here, Feliz Domingo. And so, yeah, she just does a really great job of really making sure that, she's connecting through the messaging and being consistent. And so I really love this example. Here are a couple of TikToks that she does, but I'll show you one that, again, I think there's a lot of, I think social media can really bring your brand personality to the next level. And so I'm going to show you one example, but I think I'm going to have to get out of here and come back. Let's see here. Share this. So this is the one I really like. It really, again, it really affirms what the vibe, what the personality is all about for Artlexia.
Hoy me levanté bella, fabulosa y poderosa. Y el que me quiera hacer sentir lo contrario, bye.
So not only is she like, is it fun, but you very clearly know what the product is and what kind of things you're going to get from her, right? Those stickers, and that mural behind is actually her store. So again, there's just, she's very, she's being intentional, right, about the decisions she's making, because it all ladders back to her manifesto, right? Her brand voice. So it all comes back to that. So then now Anna, you'll see the personality difference. Anna really loves Apple.
I really love Apple. I'm a big tech person. That's where I've worked in the tech industry, consumer electronics. So it really speaks to me. And what speaks to me is literally how it speaks to me. So like one part of Apple's manifesto here is Apple should strive for an intimate connection with the customer's feelings. We truly understand their needs better than any company. So what the core of Apple's brand is not that they have the phone with like the most bells and whistles. They have the phone that fits in your life. And they do this so well with their Instagram. For instance, all these pictures you see on the right, there is no product photo there. There's no picture of an iPhone. There's no picture of AirPods. What there is there experiences that you have when you use your product. There are cool videos that people make using their iPhone. And then even the captions for all these posts are people talking about like, I did XYZ with the iPhone. So they really set out to make sure that their brand is about the experiences with the product, and kind of the specs and all that technical stuff that you usually see with electronics. That's just a side note. That's not even important. What's important is how your life changes and how your life gets better when you have these products. For instance, I love their copy, like right here, display 2 times brighter than the sun. They could have said this display has 700 nits of brightness. That doesn't mean anything, but when you say really like it's brighter than the sun, you're like, oh my gosh, when I go outside, I look at my phone and I can read my text messages. That's this idea of connecting to your life instead of just giving you specs. And I love it. Every time a new product comes out, I'm like, I'm not going to buy it, but let me just see how they talk about it. Because they've done this creating this community. They've done it so well. Again, these videos are just people doing things, and there's really no iPhone or anything. It's just, you just see the experience that you get when you have this phone. And that's what's really inspiring, because, maybe you want to be a little more artistic and you see these people having fun. Like, you don't even think about the iPhone, but you will think of using your iPhone when you kind of record yourself or create some sort of project.
This is a great example of, and that's why Anna has the manifesto here. So now knowing a little bit about like her point of view here about Apple, how do you feel it connects to this manifesto?
By kind of inserting themselves in people's lives, that means they've really taken the time to research and understand the customer's needs, because you can't just throw something out there and be like, yeah, this is for you. No, their manifesto says they really understand their needs and kind of anticipating. Everyone knows that feeling if you go outside and it's so bright you can't see their phone. So next time they make it an iPhone, instead of saying, hey, we made it brighter, it's like, no, we made it brighter than the sun. It's just these little things. But again, it's just going back to what their core heart is for their brand.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, so now I always like to throw this really quickly. So these are, again, my example, but you see that these are two brands that are selling the same thing. They're selling jewelry, and they're selling jewelry that's for the Latinx community. But do you see how different they are, right? Because they're talking to, they're owning who they are. They're really stretching themselves. So for example, on the left, you see for something fresa, they're not only showing you the products, but they're showing you, they're inspiring you with these quotes that are fun and whimsical, right? Because they want to not only sell you jewelry, they want to connect this, like, they want to sell a certain sort of way of living and seeing life, right? As a companion, as a friend, as a bestie, whatnot. And then you have on the right, you have Zara Mora, which is selling you the same product, but they know who they're talking to. They're talking to people who maybe don't need, right? They don't necessarily need you to sell them the way of mentality or inspire them. They just want to see like, hey, does this look nice? Is this my vibe? And I want to purchase it, right? So there's really different ways to stretch your personality, right? Depending on, again, you have to own who you are. And if it makes sense to do something because that's what you stand for and that's what you want to do, you want to inspire people, great. So I really love this really clear distinction of two different brands selling the exact same thing, but they're going for different things. They're different at the same time. So we're going to do a quick little exercise because I know we have like 5 minutes left, Alex, right? So we're going to do a quick little exercise. So here we go. So now we've shared all this with you. What does this mean, right? How can we start piecing it together? So Anna?
So what we like to do is create a content strategy. And we create that by creating what we call content pillars. And this just means these are kind of 3 themes that speak to the core message in your brand manifesto that can be told in the same voice and personality that you've defined earlier about your brand. And these are kind of a guide to make sure that whatever you say, whatever you do, always leads back to the purpose of your brand. If your brand is all about empowering people to live their best life, you come up with 3 themes that fit to that. Maybe like one theme is healthy eating, one theme is like positive affirmations, and it's just like, it's a good map. So when you're posting stuff, even if you don't have a whole content calendar planned out 6 months in advance, you're like, oh, I haven't posted anything in a while, what do I post? You look back at your map, your content pillars, and be like, okay, there's a space here that I can address in this pillar or this theme that I haven't touched upon yet. And it's way easier than kind of trying to come up with posts from thin air.
Well, can we do a little exercise?
Yeah.
Let's like pretend. Let's pretend I'm obsessed with donuts.
Okay, so
I am. Yeah.
Let's say you open up a donut shop.
Okay.
What would you call it?
Well, naturally Hire Ellas donuts.
Donuts.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good, right?
Tell me a little bit about your donut shop. Like, who are you? What do you stand for?
Well, as you know, I'm really into like culture and art and the Mexican culture and yeah, that's sort of what comes to mind.
Okay. What else are we talking about?
Well, if I'm gonna,
what about like your story? Is there anything that inspires you to create?
Well, yeah, like I love like baking and cooking with you. I think our queer experience, our Latinx experience is very important to like what motivates us to be passionate about things, the things we want to be into. Like it's a big part of our identity.
Okay. And what do you want to accomplish with all that? Like, I understand you love baking.
Right.
You have all these intersectionalities that inspire a story. What do you kind of hope to achieve with that?
Well, it's funny because I think this Hire Ellas Donuts can really be a place where we can invite like the queer community and people if they feel safe and eat some really good donuts. So that I feel like bringing the community together, like I think that sounds nice, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right, Alex? Right?
Yeah. Okay. So we have, you're very big on.
I mean, donuts too.
Right? Okay.
Okay, so Hire Ellas Donuts, very big on culture,
Mhm.
big on intersectionalities, like your core identity, and you just want to create a space,
Yeah.
right? So those are three key things about the heart of your brand. They could
Yeah.
probably build your manifesto. Your personality is fun and quirky, so it's an easy way to talk about it.
Yeah. Guess you're right.
So those three things, those can be your content pillars.
Oh, what did we just do there? What? What? I feel like we gotta make this happen.
Yeah.
Should we do it, Alex? Should we go to CIELO and like make this happen?
So these content pillars. So now, when we post about something like, oh, how do we take a picture of this donut? Well, let's show off the style because we're all about, unique donut design. It's like, okay, we've already posted about our donuts. What else can we post about? Well, let's post about us because a big part of us is our story and our passion. And you're like, okay, well, then we've already posted about our donuts. We posted about us. What else could we possibly post about? Well, we're hosting events because community and creating a safe space is something. And with that, you can easily start creating the building blocks that will build out your calendar. And the core part of all this is because you understand kind of who you are and you took time to create these pillars based on the heart, your brand manifesto. It's all going to lead back. It's all going to sound like the same person.
Yep.
So as you scroll through your feed or you read different emails, it's not going to sound like a different brand. It'll always sound like the same brand, always aiming for the same thing.
And on top of all of that, the reason why we all are in here is for business. So it's also going to fuel the business, fuel the products, fuel the services, right? It's all a circle. It's all holistic look at how it all ties together and why marketing plays such a big role. It should play such a big role in your business. And it's really complementary, right? Because it's going to help inspire your business, drive your business, grow your business, and all that good stuff. So a couple of quick things, because this question comes out a lot. I think we recently talked about this on our social media, but this idea of trends, right? Like, oh my gosh, like there's so many trends happening, right? You're a small business owner, like you can't be on top of all the trends. And of course, like if you work with us, we will definitely be on top of it. But if you're like, hey, I can't, the best advice I can give anyone is, hey, trends will come and go and they will always be around. So the reason why I bring this example is like, once you know who you are, right? Once you've done this exercise of really getting to know who you are, you have to ask yourself, will this trend really elevate who you are? Will it really affirm who you are, what you offer? And if it's not going to, then, move on. It's okay. Like I said, there'll be plenty, but that's where stuff like this, we're really getting to know who your brand is, where it comes into play with real-time decisions as a business owners. And lastly, Anna,
once you find your voice, keep it. Consistency is always super, super important. And again, like once you have your brand personality down, your brand voice down, it's very easy to make sure that you always speak to your customers the same way. It's just important because that's how you build your community. That's how you build trust, which is ultimately the reason that people will do business with you.
And that, my friends, concludes. Of course, follow us on social media. We are on all the platforms, Hire Ellas. But we'll throw it back to Alex.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie and Anna, for providing your expertise. And I like the way you just broke it down, right? You broke it down and just kind of brought it back to the basics. Like, 'cause I feel like a lot of times you kind of have to go down and think about those pillars. I really like that exercise. So thank you for sharing that. And right now, for everyone that's on this call, on the Zoom call, I'd like to open up for some Q&A. If any of you had any questions for Hire Ellas, for Jackie and Anna, this would be your time to go ahead and ask them.
I do have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Jason.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to meet with y'all next month. I'm excited. And I heard that you like cookies, so we might have a bake-off. So my question would be, I'm trying to relaunch Sweet Mission because actually tomorrow will be 11 years that I've at least been established as a business. And so there's a lot of content I have, like articles and stuff like that. And so I think I'm at this point where I need to kind of like, since I haven't officially did a relaunch per se, I feel like I need to kind of relaunch and reintroduce people to Sweet Mission and kind to introduce others to Sweet Mission. So how do I pull all, how do I pull all this content together just to kind of use it as a platform, or kind of use it as a leveling ground? Because I have like Steve Harvey, I have Forbes Magazine, American Express, all these articles that have been written, they're kind of scattered. So how do I pull those all together kind of to use it as content, if that makes sense?
It totally makes sense, Jason. And I think it goes back to really the heart of what we were saying today is really, really affirming and owning who you are and what you've accomplished. In this case, like knowing that you've had this coverage with Steve Harvey and, you know, other outlets. And I'm sure even honestly, even reading through those articles to see what is that tying theme, like why is everyone captivated by your business, right? This is going to inform your mission, right? And what you're all about. And I think that's the first step is like really outlining what your business stands for, why it's so important, and why you want to reintroduce and keep this business right going and what you want to do. So I think that's the first step is really solidifying that. And then, as we've mentioned, you have to put together your pillars, your building blocks, right? Because now you've assessed your manifesto, your voice, your personality, and now you have these blocks that you're gonna put together, and those blocks are going to inform how you're going to introduce, right? What are the things you're going to tie yourself down to be like, this is what Sweet Mission Cookie is all about, right? So I think those are going to be the first simple steps to getting you to reintroduce yourself on social media, on digital, your website, everything like that. It all has to tie together. It all has to be consistent. But I think that's I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, and having these kind of strategies set up is really important because now, you know, part of your strategy is introducing the mission, and the other one is just literally just talking about how delicious these treats are. You can look through your articles and be like, wow, this article really shows, really talks about my mission eloquently. So let me put in that pillar and post about that. Or this one has great pictures and great coverage about, you know, the ingredients I use or the type of products I use in my cookies. So that covers this pillar. And it's an easy way to kind of organize what you say, like all these different articles and assets that you already have.
Yeah, great question. And we look forward to chatting with you too, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Any other questions in the audience?
Yeah, I actually do have a question. Thank you, ladies, so much. My name is Charity. Presentation was amazing, and congratulations, Jason. That was a lot of recognition. That's amazing that your organization was able to do that. So of his as well.
I think it cut
Can you
out.
guys hear me?
It's cutting out. Do you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think you might have cut out, Charity,
Yeah.
when you're asking. Your
Okay.
question.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So my question is, okay, so I have a beauty studio and I do lashing, but I'm getting more involved in medical wigs or prosthetics. And my question is, how do I not clients I have now and kind of transition into more content with medical wigs and different. Are you guys able to hear me? Because
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
mean,
my
I think-
connection's still not working out.
Charity, so you're saying that basically you have sounds like, are you making a transition or are you adding the product to your portfolio?
I'm adding to my portfolio.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is where the beauty of, I really do think this is where the beauty of getting to know who you are, right? There's a reason why you're bringing those products to your business, right? Because they ladder back to the reason why you have your business and what you want to provide your customers with, right?
Yeah.
And so the first step is really recognizing like, and really outlining like, why are we bringing this product into our portfolio, right? Because then if you answer that and it aligns with why you're doing it, then that product is simply falls under your pillars, right? So for example, and I'm not a big beauty, like I don't have that much knowledge on beauty. So I'm gonna use an example that I know very well, which is food. So bear with me, Charity. So say
I like food too, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
so say for example, we have Hire Ellas donuts, right? It's poppin', we're having donuts, but I'm telling Anna, I'm like, well, dude, like we're all about like you know our culture, and we want to bring in, I don't know, churros. Let's just say we want to bring in some churros into the mix, right? Because it aligns with what we want to do, with the kind of food we want to do. And so it's really just building that under our pillar and just saying like, you know, and really introducing it and start weaving it as one of the things we offer, because again, we want to provide a space where you have delicious food, and that includes churros. So it's almost kind of like a seamless thing where it's like, the only thing you really have to do is really start to tell people like why they should care about the churros, right? In this case, like why the churros are, why they're tasty, why they are important to Mexican culture and all this stuff. Like, so I think that is a way to start weaving in that product too, is why does it matter? And and have fun with it, right? And see, so I think what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. If, for instance, if you got into lashing business because you wanted to help people feel like the best version of themselves, then this medical wig just kind of adds onto that.
Mhm.
It's still the same mission. Yeah, Jackie hit it perfectly. It's like, as long as you kind of like realize the connection that you already have between these two products, because there's obviously a reason why it's working, why you're adding it.
Mhm.
Easy way to kind of add it into your pillars and figure out how it fits into the bigger picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And then like social media wise, do you guys believe that making like one post saying, okay, I'm adding this, or is it like gradually kind of bring it into?
I think well, we might be like that's definitely debatable amongst marketers, but I will say it depends on your brand personality too, right? Like if your brand personality is like, hey, like it's bold and it's like, oh my God, look what we're doing now. But if it's not really that way, and it's, I don't know, it's more
It's more tactful, it's more strategic, then it could be like a slow long-term plan. But if your personality is the kind of brand that goes, I'm doing this today, and everyone goes, oh yeah, that's a great idea, then go for it. Or if yours is kind of like more methodical, then like I think an approach of like piecing it in would be better.
And that's why I bring it back to like who you are, because if it really aligns with the services you already offer, I don't think it's going to be, it doesn't necessarily need a big splash. It's more like, hey, now you have access to even more to uplift you or make you feel beautiful. You know what I mean? So it also, but you can't go wrong with when you are, are being consistent on how you're like introducing things and how you're doing things. And if it's a product that it's like a natural progression and evolution of what you're already offering.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, ladies. That answered everything. I appreciate it.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you for the
You're
question,
welcome.
Charity.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We have a question. I think we have another question, I think.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey,
Oh
hey.
my gosh, this is so great to attend. So Jackie's my hermana. Shout out. Manos Unidas. Always going to do that.
We
I'm
don't see
so
your face. We don't get to
grateful.
see your face, Laura.
Oh my gosh, no, you can't see my face right now. It's one of those days.
Okay.
But I'm glad I get to see yours, and so happy for Hire Ellas. You all are amazing, and just grateful that you are partnering with CIELO to bring this to community. I took a lot of notes, and I'm also excited to meet with you both tomorrow. So excited for that meeting, and just wish you both the best of luck. My question is about, do you all have recommendations for how to make time to create content? Because that is like my biggest struggle. I have I'm a sole proprietor, known as Yolo Libre, and I provide therapy, training, and consulting services that uplift Two-Spirit, queer, and trans, BIPOC, undocumented immigrant, and Spanish speaking folks, right? And so I just feel like I am pulled in so many directions all the time, and I have difficulty creating like a consistent narrative and a plan. So I don't know if you have any tips on getting organized with that and what you recommend. Thank you for your expertise.
Well, first of all, thank you for your support and showing up here today, Laura. I appreciate you. You know that. Yeah, please check out their account. They're on social media, and they're amazing. So your question is a very good question. And you know what's great is that, hey, everyone in this room is, oh, that's cool. We have another HAU. Right on. Hermanas Unidas, they're California statewide. We're all small business owners, and we all are trying to make best use of our time, including us, so let's be honest there. So the first thing that came to mind is you talked about being consistent. So I love that you're already using the word, because that's truly all that matters. And what I mean by this is like, yeah, if you only have time to post once a week right now, that's okay. But that's why when you make that one post, make sure that every week you're being consistent, you're building your brand, right? Your brand, we call it brand equity. So what makes you you, right? So that every week they're getting the same Laura, right? They're getting the same stuff, you know? And so you're building that relationship. And so every time, even if it's once a week, they see you, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this nugget from Laura today. You know, and I think that is the most important thing that matters. If you're posting every day and what you're posting is just like, oh, just to get it out. And it's like, sometimes it doesn't even make sense. And you're like, what is this about? So now you're risking, right? You're risking the audience that you're building and they're gonna be like, what is this? Like, and so that's Dr. Meet on Monday. So I love that. Yeah, so, and that's where, so that's first. And then secondly, that's why these pillars are so important, is because they're there to help you build your content calendar. So say you want to do these pillars, you want 50% on this pillar, 25% on this, 25 for this, then you know kind of like what you need to start. Like we always like plan at least a month in advance because things get crazy, but that's why we want you all to be inspired to have fun with this, you know, because yeah, it's going to take effort and dedication. But the more that you have fun with who you are and really value, like the chocolate is a great example of like, you have to value your product, you have to value your work and get excited about showing people why it is so important. And I think that is also motivating as small business owners. So yeah, so I would say be consistent. And if that's 1 week, once post a week or one post every 2 weeks for now, as you start building, that's okay. And then secondly, use these pillars to really help guide your content. So you're not just creating for no reason, there's a strategy behind it. Anything you want to add to your question?
So this is kind of like a saying that we have that's a joke, but it's actually true.
What are you going to say? I don't even know what she's going to say.
Everything is content. So, you know, like for instance, if you're creating the packaging for the chocolate, record that. That could unknowingly be a post that fits in a pillar. Whenever we're setting up for a shoot or something, we record ourselves kind of setting up. That gives background to us. Sometimes I'll be, you know, talking to someone on the phone and Jackie's recording me. And the next thing I know, I see it in a reel. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It shows me working.
But guess what we just did there? The reason why we're doing that is because of our pillars. How do we show people that we work together? How do we show people that we know that we are actually doing content? So that goes back to your content pillars. How do you show people these things? And so then you have a building block of, okay, well, what is the content I want to shoot that you think is like everything is content, right? It goes hand in hand. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well,
there you go. So it's all a formula and it's there to help and serve you and help your business, right? Mm-hmm.
good.
And would you also suggest like schedule content? So like if I'm like, oh man, I'm so busy I can't do content, but I already have like content done. And so I like kind of schedule it and it just automatically like shows up in my whatever, Facebook or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so Instagram now has it where there's some limitations on what you can schedule, but nowadays you can schedule stuff on the Instagram platform. But there's other services like Hootsuite and Social Sprout that does it automatically. Although there's always caveats on certain things that they can do. So we're always very skeptical and it's pricey. So I guess to keep costs down, look into what the platforms already offer for scheduling, and then also have a content calendar and knowing like when you're going to post for the week, you know, and so because we also have to realize that we all as small business owners have to keep the costs low. And so I think until you're ready to, you know, if you have your marketing very consistently, you know, developed, then you should definitely explore other ways to continue to automate that process for you.
All right. Well, it looks like we're at time, but before we end this, Jackie and I gotta say that you got a lot of kudos in the comments, right? You got a lot of good comments. Everyone's real happy with your presentation. So again, thank you for coming out. And for those of you who wanted to ask a question, we will provide their contact information. So we'll include that in the recap email when we send that out along with the recording. Apologize, it's a partial recording. I forgot to unpause it, but it's still good content either way. But again, Jackie, Anna, thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise. And I hope you all enjoyed this as well too.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for showing up, and thank you, CIELO. Until
All
next
right.
time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time.
Thank you.